Welcome to William and Mary. We are excited to have you all here this evening for our part-time virtual information session. I'm Amanda Barth, and I serve as Assistant Dean of MBA Admissions, and I'll be hosting tonight's discussion. We have a wonderful conversation planned for you this evening. We're joined by some of my favorite colleagues. First and foremost, our Associate Dean of MBA Programs, Dr. Ken White. Ken, if you want to offer a wave. Also on the call this evening is our Associate Director of Part-Time MBA Admissions. I know many of you are already working closely with Miss Amy Palausa. Amy, if you'd like to give a wave. Additionally, representatives from our MBA programs team, the team that works most closely with you as current students, are also on the line. My colleague, Assistant Dean of MBA programs, Dr. Carlene Pittman, and my colleague, Ms. Jennifer Nelson, who is the Associate Director of MBA programs. Additionally, Josh Lustig from MBA Admissions is on the call tonight. And our guest of honor are our three panelists who are current students in the part-time evening MBA program here at William and Mary. My good friend, Major Adam Talafero, Miss Shannon Foxday, and also Miss Jasmine Price. Thank you all for taking precious time away from what I know is a busy evening to join us. Again, my name is Amanda Barth, and I'll be hosting this evening. In addition to my work here at the Mason School of Business, I am also a William and Mary alumna. I earned my master's in higher education in 2006 through our School of Education, and I came back to work at the Mason School in 2009. I've been working in the graduate management education space for well over a decade. And in the last year, I have started working more closely with both our part-time and executive MBA programs. We are delighted as a community to welcome you all to this information session this evening, and we hope that you'll enjoy a nice program. I am going to hand it over now to our Associate Dean, Dr. Ken White, who's going to talk a little bit about seizing this opportunity. Ken?
Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, thanks for joining us. We appreciate your time. We know how valuable your time is, and we're here to make it interesting and relevant for you tonight. So we'll get right to it. First of all, I hope you're well, and I hope those who matter most to you are also well. And again, thanks very much for joining us. I remember back in April of last year, it seems like 20 years ago, right? But it was just 3 weeks into the pandemic. And I don't even know if we were calling it a pandemic then. It was so early. I remember we didn't know how long this would last. Was it temporary? What was going to happen? But it was just right at the beginning of April. I found a piece in one of my news feeds, and I don't recall if it was Fast Company or Wall Street Journal or one of the news feeds. And the title was, "Good Enough is Good Enough." And we've heard that. That's been around for 20 years in business, right? The whole idea of good enough is good enough is sort of like sometimes perfection can get in the way of excellence. And so you have to measure your dedication and your effort. But this piece was written by two CEOs who predicted at that time that we were heading into a very difficult time. And they said, as a result, professionals, you, me, the people you report to, the people you lead, we're all going to have to realize that at times good enough is just going to have to be good enough. And I remember thinking, 3 weeks into this and you're throwing in the towel? You've got to be kidding. I just thought it was the worst advice I ever heard. It turned out to be fairly good advice, as you know, as the story plays out. But it's been interesting to watch how organizations and companies and people have worked over the past year. You know, some of them have said, no, good enough is not good enough. We're going to go after this. And there are some industries that have just exploded. I think of the home fitness industry, you know, Peloton and Nordic Track. Wow. You look at Zoom, you know, so many of these industries have just been taken off because everybody committed and went after it. I also think there's some industries that are slipping because even though, there's lots of pressures on everybody, they backed off a little bit, and said, yeah, we're just going to wait a while. And so we're starting to see some people really win and companies win and some lose. And I think the same goes for individuals, right? There are those when it comes to a working professional who's saying, I'm just going to ride this out, right? There's just too much to this. Let's ride it out and see what happens whenever it happens. And then there are those like you who are saying, I've got a future, I've got goals, I have things I need to do, and getting an MBA is going to help me get there. And so rather than wait, I'm going to think about this and I'm going to pursue this. And I applaud you for doing that, because that takes some guts to do that, right? But the companies that have done that, the organizations that have done that, we've seen them really thrive and flourish. And so good for you. I applaud you for taking a look at us and a working professional MBA program and saying, I think this is in my future, because there are a lot of people just too afraid to make that call right now. And it's going to be a brilliant decision on your behalf when you do so. Amanda mentioned she's been in the space for 10 years. I've been in it for 20, which is amazing because I'm a lot younger than her. And so, right, Amanda? And so I was thinking, I started at the University of Virginia, then went to the University of Maryland. I've been with William and Mary for 7 years. And people will often say, what makes a good program? And when I was thinking about, especially what you're looking at, you're a working professional thinking about pursuing an MBA on a part-time basis, what's important? And to me, I think there are three elements. The first is faculty. And sometimes that's oddly overlooked, and if you think about it, you're going to spend a ton of time with professors. And there are some really great professors, and there are some that are not so great. And fortunately, the great ones work at William and Mary. Year in and year out, our faculty are ranked 1, 2, or 3 in the nation by publications like the Princeton Review and Bloomberg Business Week. We're year in and year out given an A+ rating by Bloomberg Business Week. And the last 2 years, our faculty, the faculty in this program, were ranked #1 in the world for teaching and learning. There are thousands of MBA programs in the world, and the faculty here, the very best on earth. That's huge, especially when you're in there every night working with these people. They bring the business sense, they bring the academic piece, they bring the passion, they know how to teach, they know how to facilitate. That's big. And so I would strongly encourage you to think about that. I would say the second piece, in my opinion, classmates. Who are you sitting around? Who are you talking to before class begins? Who are you going out with after class for a beer, or going out for a run, or working on a project? That's your network. And it can be your network for life. And the people in our part-time MBA program work at some of the largest companies in the region. And some of them work at companies you never heard of, like startups or mom and pops. Just a really cool, diverse group of organizations and people who come in, and you learn from them just as much as you learn from the faculty. And then I would say the third element that I always like to consider is, what's the role of the program at the business school? And in many business schools, part-time programs are an afterthought. With us, our full-time, our executive, and our part-time and our online are equal. We want to be the very best in each one of those spaces. And that's why our full-time faculty teach in the program. We don't bring in adjuncts, right? This is the same faculty that teach across the board, and it's the same staff. And so you get great faculty, great staff, excellent classmates, and it leads to a wonderful experience. So as you've sort of made up your mind that good enough might not be good enough, and you want what's best for you and you want what's best for your future, we deliver that. And so if you have any questions, I'm always available to talk. I know you're talking with Amy and with Amanda and lots of other folks here on the call tonight. And I appreciate you joining us. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Amanda?
Yes, thank you so much, Dean White. Again, we know that you're striking a delicate balance between pursuing your graduate management degree and balancing your professional commitments. Our hats are off to you. We're going to turn it over now to my colleague Amy Palausa and to Dr. Carlene Pittman, who are going to talk a little bit about the overview of what to expect in our part-time evening MBA. Amy, starting with you to give us a nice walkthrough of the program. Amy, we're going to have you just unmute briefly, and then we'll have you start.
Wow. Thank you. I was unmuted and I don't know how my wrist hit that. Thank you. My name is Amy Palalsa, and I am so proud to be the Associate Director of Admissions of our William & Mary Part-Time MBA program, an MBA program that will not just take your career to the next level, it will increase the entire trajectory of your career. I am a double alumna of William & Mary, as well as a second generation William & Mary alum. So I definitely bleed green and gold, go tribe. It is my mission to make sure that all of you are welcomed into the William & Mary family. Our part-time MBA program is a world-class MBA program designed especially for you, the working professional. You will earn a William & Mary MBA with our award-winning faculty at a time and a pace that fits your needs. Our classes are held in person in the evening in Newport News at our William & Mary Peninsula Center, just off I-64. We're very flexible in our time to degree. You can accelerate or slow down your pace to meet your needs in any given semester. Our typical student takes 2 classes per semester, and that means being in class 2 evenings per week. At that pace, you will complete your degree in 3 years. Our students live and work between Richmond and Virginia Beach. Our average age of our part-time MBA student is 30, with an average a number of years of professional experience of 8. Now, you certainly don't have to have 8 years of professional experience to apply, but we do ask for 2 years of professional experience when you begin. Our students come from a variety of backgrounds, industries, and functional areas. You do not have to have a business degree to apply, and we really welcome the diversity of perspective, problem solving, and idea generation that diversity of backgrounds brings in our classroom. You can choose a general management degree, or you can earn one of our 2 concentrations. One is business analytics, which obviously is a very hot topic these days. And the other is management of engineering and technology development. You will accelerate your career with the William & Mary Part-Time MBA program. We offer a curriculum that develops your leadership, your strategic thinking, and your decision-making, a public Ivy faculty, a credential that says you are exceptional, and a network of successful and upwardly mobile area professionals and a worldwide William & Mary alumni network. By earning your MBA part-time as a working professional, you will maintain your career momentum, you will earn while you learn, and you will apply what you learn every day, and that is immediate ROI as well as career-long ROI. Relationships are very, very important at William & Mary, and we take everything personally. We want to get to know you. So I would love to develop a one-on-one relationship with you so I can learn about your goals, answer your questions, talk with you about how a William & Mary MBA can help you meet your goals. My name is Amy Palalsa. Let's connect so you can get going on your William & Mary MBA journey. Go Tribe.
Very good. And as you can see, our admissions team is so approachable. Amy is absolutely wonderful to work with through the process. After, of course, you earn admission into the university, then we align you very closely with our MBA programs team, led by Dr. Carlene Pittman. Carlene, I'll ask you to unmute as well, and then I'll have you share a little bit about the student support services that are unique to our part-time evening program.
Welcome again. My name is Carlene Pittman, as was just said, and I'm also an alumna. This is just what you're going to get tonight. I graduated from our higher education PhD program a few years before Amanda, but we'll just leave that aside. I would like to tell you a little bit about what we offer to you. And we do really consider the differences of our students. You all are taking time out of your day and evening to be with us. And why I say day is because you may be doing things in the day other than working, but you're going to come to us in the evening. And that usually is from 7 to 10 p.m. and our Newport News location, which is a really convenient location right off the highway. One of the things that I'll give you three things that you'll get from us: personalized, partnership, and transformation. Those are the three things that I think I would keep in mind as you're thinking about a program, as you're looking into program. Personalized, meaning that we do know your name. Jennifer and I are at the Peninsula Center. We're looking around. If we see you looking something that doesn't look right, and Jasmine's laughing because she knows, we'll call you out and we'll ask, hey, come talk to us. We want to talk with you. We also help in a personalized way of helping your career in terms of your classes and selection of your classes. A lot of times you have so much going on in terms of your personal lives. We want to make it easy for you. So we want to make sure that we actually are working with you along the way. That leads me to partnership. We are partnering with you to making sure that everything that you want to do in terms of your career at William & Mary and beyond, you're able to achieve by working with faculty, by putting you in touch with other students, just making sure that all the components of the program is exactly what you really want them to be. Transformation. So we really do offer a transformational experience. I can tell you countless, and Jennifer can as well, and I'm going to have her introduce herself. Countless flex students that come, part-time MBA students that come through our program that start out at one area and then they end up getting another job. They're moving up in their company, moving to another company. So there are opportunities for your career as well. And I just want you to be open to that. And I think many of our students who come through the program maybe don't even come through thinking that they're going to get a different career. And they get fired up about what they're learning. Our faculty are amazing. And you're going to be learning so many skills that are going to be such application for you back into the workforce. So I want to take time to introduce Jennifer Nelson. She is my partner in crime, and we work with our part-time MBA students to make sure that they're successful. Jennifer, would you unmute and introduce yourself?
Absolutely. It is my pleasure to see all of you here tonight and to see again some of our current students. It's nice to see you. I know we've probably exchanged emails here within the last couple of days. My name is Jennifer Nelson. I am the Associate Director of MBA Programs. To keep with the trend, I am also an alumna of William & Mary. I graduated from the full-time MBA program in 2012. I also am a second generation. My mom and my aunt are alumna of the undergrad program. So the tribe is definitely a place that I have found to be home. I just want to mention one of the things that I find the most exciting. I've been working with our part-time MBA students for 5.5 years, which is time flies when you're having fun, I think. And one of the things that gets me the most excited is I see a lot of students that join the program and they come in and they think they're just gaining an academic credential. And what they don't realize is they are gaining an entire network of people that are here to support them in their transformation, that are here to help them seek their career goals. And it's not just academics. We've got the social, we've got the professional networking. It's all the pluses that come with the academic credential that I think really make this program really unique. I love getting to know our students. I always say my favorite days are orientation day and graduation day because the transformation that happens in between is amazing. And I feel like I get to know everyone on a really personal level. And that is something that I love, a reason I chose to take my MBA and come back and work in the higher education space. And I am just so excited to see you all here tonight and look forward to seeing you again in the future. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. Like you said I hope you see the excitement that we have to work with students. We are looking forward to talking with you and engaging with you more. If you have questions, we appreciate our part-time MBA students. We know how much sacrifice it is for you to work a full day and come to our school in the evening. And we want to make sure that we make it as easy as possible so you could truly have that transformational experience. Look forward to answering questions later. Amanda?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amy, Carlene, and Jennifer. A wonderful introduction to the program. Now we're at the segment in tonight's program where we will have you learn from and hear from those who truly know best what it takes to make managing a part-time MBA work so beautifully in their schedules. We have 3 of our current part-time MBA students with us this evening. I'll have each of them more formally introduce themselves, where they're working, and why they decided that the William and Mary program was the best choice. Shannon, I know you serve as our MBA president for the part-time program, so I would love to have you kick things off this evening. Shannon Foxday, if you'll unmute, and we are excited to hear from you to start.
Awesome. Thank you, Amanda. Yeah, as Amanda said, I'm the president of the part-time MBA. So I lead a group of officers, and we set up events and networking things. Of course, it's been challenging with the pandemic, but we're doing our best. We started a Discord channel a few weeks ago, and it seems to be picking up speed. So I'm very encouraged by that. About me, I work for a mid-sized consulting firm out of DC. I have a very kind of non-traditional background. I'm not a William and Mary alum. I was a military wife, and so I went to 4 undergrad colleges all over the country before getting my degree. Wound up here in Virginia, and had started to really grow at work and explore the business side and capture and business development. And it was something that I really loved. So I started to think I should really pursue an MBA. And I started to investigate, and I really wanted to go to a program that was in person. And I'm right here in Williamsburg, and William and Mary is right here. It's an incredible school. And I'm lucky enough to be close to the campus, which is amazing. But when I really started looking into the program, the flexibility and the fact that the classes are literally the same as the full-time program was a huge draw for me. The program is very rigorous. And if you can imagine, I work in consulting, which is also very rigorous. But we make it all work, and the professors are really here for you. Even my first term, finance is my weak point, and I struggled hard. And I think I emailed Jennifer at one point and was like, I'm not gonna make it. Like, I cannot do this. And she's like, it's okay. We can do this. Talk with your professor. And Professor Foster, by the way, if you get her, she's amazing. She worked with me. We worked hard on it, and I made it through. And I have amazing classmates. We would meet every Sunday and work together on it, and they helped me too. So, it's the professors, it's the school itself, it's the admin support, and it's also your classmates. It's the pandemic has made it really hard, but we're all still meeting every Sunday and doing that stuff. And it really, it's been a turning point for me. I can take things back to work right away. I feel like I understand everything much better, and I have a level of insight that I didn't have before. And as you can imagine, it really starts to accelerate your career. So, that's kind of all of me and my experience with the program in a nutshell.
Thank you so very much, Shannon. We're going to hand it over to Miss Jasmine Price. Jasmine, if you'll tell us a little bit about what you're doing professionally and why you decided that the William and Mary program was that best choice.
Hello, guys. My name is Jasmine Price. I am a project manager at Howmet Aerospace. We make airfoils for industrial gas turbines, and I am my 2nd semester in the program. And I will say, as an engineer, I am very black and white, all data oriented. So when you look at my stats, we're one of the best in Virginia. So, it sounds like a good path, right? And when I started looking into the program, it's funny, I never went through this orientation like this, but every single aspect of everything that everyone is repeating, the people, the professors, the networking, I see it day by day. And actually getting into the program was exciting, and getting to meet these new people, but working side by side with other professionals in different industries, I am definitely one of those people now that I'm talking about career paths I've never once even knew of or thought of. Honestly, my biggest issue is every time I have a class, like we did organizational behavior, and I love people and the decisions and why people make decisions and continuous improvement within that. I was like, oh, that could be my career path. Now we're in communications. I'm like, well, maybe marketing is part of it. So there's so many opportunities within the program and being able to understand what you like within it. And it was really interesting what Shannon said, because finance was not my strength at all. But the professors have really gotten me through all of the weak points and walked through the challenging moments from a technical standpoint, working with your coworkers and your peers in this program. I call them coworkers, actually. What was I thinking? They're not working with me, right? But they feel like coworkers. I spend just as much time with the colleagues within this program as I do within my colleagues at work. So it's really interesting how quick I've been able to build relationships within this cohort who's only been together for 2 semesters. And William & Mary really builds that together.
Wonderful, Jasmine. Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure. I'm getting to meet you for the first time, so delighted to have you here this evening. And saving our best for last, Major Adam Talafero. Adam, if you'd like to unmute and share a little bit about your experience.
Great, thanks, Amanda. Yes, I'm Major Adam Talafero, so I'm in the U.S. Army. I live in Williamsburg, but I work out of Fort Eustis, Virginia. So I am a strategist by trade in the Army. So we're a small cohort of people that do a lot of operational planning and strategic design. And my job here, I work with Army's Futures Command. So we're doing a lot of future force design and concept development as we're trying to figure out what the Army of 2035 looks like. So for me, the MBA has been well worth it. I'm in the professional core now, so the second year. So operations management, believe it or not, we're trying to figure out buffers in our own planning, trying to figure out exactly how we're being most effective. So we're leveraging that every day. But why William & Mary for me? You've heard a lot of great things. So I think to me, to wrap it all up, is that in this program, I do not feel like the other. Dean White talked about having the full-time professors. So I have a master's in another discipline from another school, and I can believe you, we felt like we were just pushed to the side. It didn't really matter. Whereas here, I mean, it blew my mind that professors were at the class 7 to 10 with us. Like, it really makes you step up your game when those guys are doing the same thing. We have the all grad networking, so we're interfacing with the full-time program. I've got to go to games. You'll never see so many part-time students wear so much green and gold because guys care, it matters. My kids put it on, as Josh and Amanda can attest. Like, they feel like they're a part of the community, and it's fantastic and it's great. And then lastly, I mean, prestige matters. So when I think about my career and how I transition, as people see what's happening in America, and we know all degrees are not created equal. And when I tell people I'm going to William & Mary, like, their eyes perk up, the eyebrows raise a little bit, like, oh, you're a serious guy. And so, and it matters, and I really appreciate that. So for me, it's one of the best decisions I've made in my life, in my career, to choose this and really to strengthen myself academically as I think about outside of national security, what it means to work in the corporate sector. So thanks, Amanda.
You are so welcome, and thank the 3 of you for being here. As you can see, they are truly outstanding members of our part-time MBA community. We love learning and growing alongside them. We have a couple of teed up questions for our panelists this evening. We hoped it would keep our conversation flowing nicely and address any of the potential concerns that you might have as prospective students. So I had asked Shannon and Jasmine and Adam to think a little bit about some pre-program advice that they might offer, ways that you can prepare to be ready to meet this exciting challenge head on. So Shannon, Jasmine, Adam, you are all 3 welcome to unmute. And as you have maybe words of wisdom or a piece of advice, we'd love to hear from you. Jasmine, you're the winner. Your mute went off first. So if there is a tip that you'd like to share with the audience, we'd love to know what you're recommending this evening.
Yeah, I think I most recently went through this, right? So I'll give you some background on me. I actually had a career path change throughout the pandemic. And throughout it made me think maybe this is time for me to get my MBA. So I came in right at the last minute to apply to this program. And I was thinking, I'm going to go the next semester. It'll be okay. No worries. And I would say that the best prep that anyone could do is to start to think about what matters to them. What is actually valuable in your day? And start thinking, do I need to put time there? And if that is not something that is true to your heart, that you just signed up for because you're that type of person that signs up for things like I am, start eliminating sooner than later. And then also start understanding why you're signing up for an MBA. Think about that early on. And then remember that throughout those hard days when you're in finance and you have no idea what's going on in the homework, because you'll get through it with a group of people who are working together on it. But being able to prioritize that and go back to your why is critical, at least in my early path in my career.
Very good. Adam?
Sure. For me, very similar to Jasmine, but I had to figure out really where my strength was in terms of being a qualitative person or a quantitative person. My job, it's more qualitative. So we're really making assessments that's maybe not based on the numbers as Jasmine talked about. So for me, being honest with myself to know that I was going to have to push myself, and maybe textbooks that I hadn't looked at in a while, it was going to be time to do that. We had the opportunity for my cohort to go through pre-prep, which was the MBA Math program, which for me was well worth it. I mean, just to strengthen statistics, finance, just basic algebra again, being able to look at the numbers, remove that fear, slay that sacred cow, numbers aren't scary, and say, oh, I can do this, and and refer to it back. So when I got to finance, like, oh, okay, we can handle this. So for me, it was really having an honest assessment of getting back at the numbers, and which is what I signed up for. I'm glad it was hard because it made me know that this was a real program.
Wonderful, Adam. Thank you so much. Shannon, your insight.
I would say from a school prep position, I would recommend also taking that pre-class. I did not take it, and I wish that I had. So I would also recommend taking that if you have the opportunity, and professionally think about how much time you put into your work right now, what your schedule looks like. You are going to need time to do school. It is going to be time. There is a little bit of a joke out there that an MBA is kind of grades don't matter. They do, and you can fail. And so, think about that, and akin to that, think about your personal life. And if you've got kids or you have chores around the house, things to take care of, don't look at things that you can maybe do differently. I do meal kits, and I have them sent because I just can't even think about cooking dinner or what to do with that. Maybe you need a cleaning service or a lawn care service or something like that. Things that you can take off your plate is great. I heard once the concept, use your external brain, write it down so you don't have to remember anymore, use a scheduler, whatever, because this is going to be, it is a lot of bandwidth that's going to take up in your mind. There's a lot of creativity. People are really excited, which is amazing. And then the last thing I would say, get into a good, healthy routine with sleep. And, my first semester, I really let the gym go, and that was a huge mistake. And, coming back into it, you need these things that are just self-care, focus, discipline, and stuff like that. And if you kind of get yourself into that place, you'll hit the program running and just be good to go.
Thank you so much, Shannon. Before we let the point of MBA Math go, our students have been talking about an online program that we can recommend. It is called MBA Math, so mbamath.com. It is not formally a requirement for the admissions process in the part-time program, but the way that we determine your need for MBA Math is by evaluating your academic history and also looking at the professional responsibilities that you're currently managing. And you've heard that there are a mix of academic backgrounds and job functions, but our admissions team will work with you very closely. Amy and me will spend time evaluating your candidacy, and we'll let you know if MBA Math is something that is worth your time. I'm in Shannon's corner as a liberal arts and sciences major that the MBA Math would be a wonderful investment. It costs approximately $150, but it's a 1-year online subscription that you'll have access to as you're navigating the quantitative courses in the first year of MBA study. But again, Amy and I are very well versed in evaluating candidates. And if we think you need MBA Math, we will gladly recommend it. If it's a contingency upon admission, we might even require it, but we will only do so with your best interest at heart. It is a great preparatory program. Shannon, you also touched a little bit on the importance of the work-life balance. And Adam, you also mentioned your family, and I know your family well. Adam, will you start by talking to us a little bit about that work-life balance and how you communicate with Jennifer and level set expectations as you're pursuing your MBA and working full-time?
Yes, thanks, Amanda. So it is a conversation. I think initially this was a decision that I didn't make by myself. It was a conversation with my family, recognizing, the time on top of the work, like evening 7 to 10, and that's just the nights you're in class. That doesn't also account for the prep or the study, or again, the fact that this feels like a real program, because we're doing group projects, which means we're meeting with our groups. My group, one class went to Norfolk because we did a presentation for Bike Norfolk. So, you're doing things outside of the norm. So for us, it was really thinking about what this meant and what it meant for our family and being upfront about that. And then, after that first semester and the excitement wears off, recognizing, hey, this is going to continue for the next 3 years, and reminding and touching base and really, quite frankly, thanking my family for supporting me and being part of this journey. So yes, I think as Shannon said, definitely think through the plan, think through your schedule, recognize outside of the 2 nights a week, think about how involved you want to be. For me, it was a good chance to evaluate myself against people that don't wear a uniform every day, how I communicate to them, how they communicate with me, how I can influence people other with a command hand, so how can you talk? So for me, I really wanted to be involved in that. So the work-life balance matters, and I think everybody, you wouldn't be on here if you didn't already know how to time manage. So I would say the next step is just being able to honestly communicate with yourself on how you want to do it. Thank you.
Very good. Shannon, I also know that you have a very, very strong relationship with your employer. Tell us a little bit about how you talk to your employer about your pursuit of graduate study and what that might have meant for you as you've been with us for the last few years.
So when I started thinking about pursuing my MBA, I did reach out to people within my company, and actually one of our old VPs had gone through the executive program with William and Mary, and so I connected with him, and he had great things to say. Overall, they're very accepting. My first semester, we had organizational behavior, which Jasmine, I also loved that class. And they asked us to write about a problem within the company and things like that. And I actually wrote to the CEO of our company and asked, talk to him about it and requested information. And he gave me the go-ahead to get so much information. It was wild. And I found out so many things and, wrote this great paper that I've shared with, my bosses and a few other people, and they just thought it was amazing. And the insight gained, I think, gave me a lot of, I don't want to say clout, but it legitimized a lot of what I was doing, but also my analytical capabilities and how I was seeing the business and how it worked and how I was learning and growing. And because of that, they've been so supportive. So it's kind of symbiotic, as I said, you can take things from school right away. My finance is improving. And, they see that. And so they are benefiting directly from it. And so they're very welcoming to the change and open to what I'm bringing from William and Mary to the workplace. So it's been great. And I think if you're very transparent with them, with your work, that they will really start to appreciate what you're bringing to class and from class to work and vice versa. Part of your MBA is bringing your experiences to other students, that are there. And I have a little bit more work experience than some of the people. So I maybe have a lot of stories, but it's great. And it's worked out really well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing, Shannon. And Jasmine, you mentioned something that I think is so special about earning the MBA, and that is that it is open to a variety of academic disciplines. You mentioned your engineering background, and I'd love to know from your perspective how you've navigated the business world in terms of the academic side for the first time, and sort of how you're feeling about that pivot into the business world from an engineering background.
It is very interesting. It is different than what I expected. Honestly, I was one of those people who came into the MBA thinking I was going to get a degree, right? So I came here to get another certification on the back of my name. But that's not exactly what I'm experiencing here. I'm learning so much that even as an engineer and in a project management role that I wouldn't expect that I needed, honestly, anything else to do because I've been doing it for a little while at this point. I am learning things daily within the MBA program that I didn't understand, how I communicate to people, how people might see me, and growing throughout this, and even seeing my, the cohorts that are further along and thinking, wow, I feel like they probably learned something throughout this period and interacting with you guys today. It is very interesting. One thing I also wanted to add from the work-life balance standpoint is that part of the reason why I was so interested in the part-time program was family planning. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to family planning and get an MBA at the same time. And I see that flexibility within the William & Mary program that I don't see in a lot of other ones. And so that was a big part of my decision to join the William & Mary program, is being in such a prestigious program while also having the ability to bring children into the world and family plan throughout this period of my life.
Wonderful, Jasmine. That's such a unique perspective. And our student programming office, the MBA programs team, does a great job in ensuring that you have that support as a woman and as a scholar through the program. So really wonderful that they're there for you as you're thinking about all the options at this stage in your life as well. So excellent advice from our panelists. I'm sure all of our prospective students are now thinking, I really want to join the William & Mary part-time MBA. How do I get in? So I'm going to take just a few moments to talk about what we're looking for in admissions requirements, and then we're going to kick it right back and to have some Q&A to round out our session. We'd love to hear from you. But a very straightforward process. Amy and I will evaluate applications on a rolling basis for the part-time program. We have multiple intakes throughout an academic year. Our next one upcoming in August, so we consider that our fall semester, and then we'll be gearing up again for a spring intake. We are being generous with our waivers of our GMAT and GRE at this moment, especially due to the pandemic and the busy work life that everyone is experiencing now. So you do not need a GMAT or a GRE to apply. If you've taken the test, or if you've been preparing and you'd like to submit a score, of course we welcome it. Anything would add, value to your academic background. But for official evaluation, what we'll look at most closely is your unofficial academic transcript from any of your graduating institutions. We'll also ask you for an updated professional resume, really highlighting your achievements at your various places of employment. We'll look for 2 professional recommendations. So you might consider asking an immediate supervisor or manager. Depending on your line of work, you might want to ask a colleague, a client. We just ask that the recommendations are professional in nature. We'll have you write an admissions essay to really share with us your goals and objectives for MBA study and why William & Mary is the right place. And finally, Amy and I will take time to get to know you through an admissions interview, a 2-way conversation to assess your right fit and readiness for the program, but also leaving time for you as a candidate to really ask your important questions of us. Again, you'll find the entire admissions team is approachable. We're collegial. We understand that you are working professionals who are gearing up to take this exciting next step. Our next application deadline for that fall intake is upcoming. Our priority deadline for round 1 is May 1st. That will give you the opportunity to apply for some of our MBA 1693 scholarship opportunities, and we'll also offer an application fee waiver. If that May deadline is a little too soon, or if you're still weighing options, we will maintain an open application cycle through July 1. And then after July 1, we'll continue to assess applications on a rolling basis. But we do encourage you to take those next steps as promptly as you can. That just ensures you time to gain your admission to the program, to have those important conversations with your family, your employer, and your support system. It really ensures your readiness to start. And if you need a little extra time to prep through something like mbamath.com, the time leading up to your start in August is really precious. But again, I can't iterate enough how available Amy and I are to help you through this admissions process. The other experts on the call today are also very open and willing to take your emails and your phone calls. So if you want to link up with any of our current students to learn a little bit more about their experience, they are really open to connecting with you. Dr. Pittman and Jennifer and their team are absolutely fantastic with helping you to understand things like the battle rhythm, using one of my favorite military terms, the cadence of scheduling, what the schedule will look like and the time commitment. Dean White is great to counsel you through, seizing that opportunity and all the benefits available to you through this process. So don't hesitate to reach out. We are absolutely here. We also offer a very prompt turnaround on our admissions decision making. So once you submit an application, our admissions team works very hard to provide a prompt turnaround in less than 2 weeks. We want you to have all the facts, and we want you to, again, be able to engage in those healthy conversations. Let's go ahead and open it up to some Q&A. We invite the audience to ask your questions utilizing a hand raise feature or the chat bar. But the entire team will spend about another 10 minutes or so going through any important questions that you have before we wrap things up. We know everybody has a busy evening, but we'd love to hear from you. Delaney, it looks like you have a question. Please feel welcome to unmute and ask.
Thanks, and thanks everyone for being here today. I tried.
That's okay, you're very good, Delaney.
I was wondering how much time outside of class in relation to inside a class, either per credit or per class or per week, how much time you spend dedicated to each class outside of the actual class time.
I will let Carlene jump back on and try to answer that as well. So Carlene, that balance for spending time outside of class, time of study.
Yes, so we say an hour outside of class per every hour you're in class. So if you take a 3-hour class, you should be studying outside of class 3 hours, probably at the minimum. So we think of this as you are focusing on your academics, so we want to make sure that you are spending the time. So some of the things that our current students said about time management is critically important. But I would say an hour to an hour and a half outside of class is typical. Did that answer your question, Delaney?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Very good. And Carly, it's great to finally see you. Thank you for all your great emails last week. Carly, what is your question?
So thank you everyone for your time. I guess my question would be, I see on the website you have global immersion opportunities, which I'm assuming are on pause recently. But I was more curious what that would usually entail, like if there's any specific examples of past meetings that students may have been able to participate in, or any further information you could provide.
Absolutely, Carly. I'll have to hold everyone back because we have all traveled with the part-time MBA and full-time MBAs on global business immersion. So I can see the eyes lighting up. We all have great stories to share. I'm going to pick on Dean White because I drug Dean White over with me to the Kingdom of Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates. Ken, talk a little bit about our expedition on a global business immersion with our part-timers.
Yeah, thanks, Carly. That's a great question. Yeah, we just love global business immersions. And actually, we are still doing them, but just virtually. We actually held one over the winter break, and we had, Carlene and I did it together. 35 students, Carlene, I think. So I think we had about 35 students. And since it was virtual, what we did is we took advantage of it, and we invited 9 leaders and CEOs from all over the world to talk about innovation and what they're doing in their companies. We spread it out over 3 nights, although one was really early morning because of the time zone, right? We're talking to people in Singapore and Australia and so forth. But that was definitely unique. But under normal circumstances, the spring break, we have a global immersion. And over the winter break, we also have a global immersion. Generally speaking, in the spring, we go to Europe. And we'll take a look at a couple of countries. When I lead them, I like to study innovation. It's such an umbrella topic, and every company we meet with can address that somehow. And then usually over the winter break, it's a little longer. Spring break is a week. Europe is easy to get to, quick flight. Over the winter break, it tends to be more like 2 weeks to Asia, Southeast Asia. And often Professor Don Rates leads that. Jennifer has gone on that multiple times. And yeah, they're fantastic. The whole idea is we take about 20 students. We visit usually 1 or 2 cities. We have a topic and we visit companies. And these companies love to meet with us. It's just amazing what they share with us, actually. And they're fascinating. And what really intrigues me is that the number of part-time MBA students who've gone on these, and you know, part-time students are experienced. I mean, some of them have been all over the world, come back from these immersions and say, fascinating. That was transformational. I can't believe what we saw and what we learned, because when you're in business, you only see one side. When you're a student, you see many others. But we do have them. There is a per credit charge. They're usually 1.5 credits. And then there's on top of that, just a charge for the actual immersion. The class will meet 3 or 4 times before we go to get prepped, and then off we go. And it's, yeah, they're fantastic. And we can't wait to start traveling again. But in the meantime, we are planning to do several virtual immersions.
Thank you so much, Dean White. And again, we've all enjoyed the Global Business Immersion. They're a special part of the William and Mary experience. Carlene, I'm going to tee the next question up for you. It's in regards to transfer credits. Some candidates might have pursued MBA coursework elsewhere. What is the policy on transfer credits into the part-time MBA program?
Sure. We allow you to transfer credits from an AACSB accredited school. So those would have to be reviewed. And if you're thinking about that, you should reach out to Amy or Amanda ASAP and let us know what you're thinking. We are limited with the amount of transfer credits that we bring into the program, because obviously we want you to have our MBA with credits from our faculty. But we do allow a limited number of credits, and it is 6 credits coming into the program for transfer.
Thank you so much, Carlene. That's great information. Andrew, I see that your hand is also raised. Andrew, if you'd like to unmute and ask your question, we would love to hear from you. And Andrew, if you'd like to put your question in the chat, that's okay. All right, well, we know sometimes Zoom can have a little technical timeout that it takes on its own. But Andrew, if you get a chance to put your question in the chat box, please do, and we're happy to answer it. I'll look for any other additional questions. Carly, I see your hand is up. Do you have another one?
Yes, I left it up, but I did have another question, actually. I do see that classroom visits aren't able to happen right now due to the pandemic. But I was wondering, for the students, like, how has your experience changed due to the pandemic? Has it become more difficult, or is it just about the same? I'm very interested to hear.
That's a very good question. Let's kick that back over to our current students. Shannon or Adam, if you want to jump in and take that question. Shannon?
Sure. So I was able to go in the fall of 2019 and then half of the spring semester of 2020, and then we never came back over spring break. I will say the professors have done an amazing job of really putting in the effort to make the classes still immersive and still, interactive. And it's been great how they've done it. I will say it is tough. I'm now in a class where I do get to go to the Peninsula Center, and it's a totally different world. It feels like to be able to go back to class. there's only a few of us in there and we all wear masks and everything, but it's just so nice to be able to interact face to face. Personally, I'm more likely to speak up in an in-person environment than on, virtually. So for me, I get to be more involved. But I will say I'm impressed. The professors have put together videos. They do asynchronous and synchronous classes. We've done full presentations, videos, so many things. And it's made us react more creatively as well. So we're making it work, I think, in amazing ways. So I've been impressed with the professors in the school.
Very good. Thank you so much, Shannon. Andrew's question actually came through very nicely on the chat bar. And Andrew, it's an excellent question. Amy mentioned a little bit about the availability of MBA classes in the summer. Jennifer Nelson, I know you do some advising very closely with part-time MBAs. Do you want to talk a little bit about summer session 1 and 2?
Absolutely. So yes, we do have an opportunity for you all to take classes during the summer. So the summer semester is a little bit different than our fall and our spring semesters. During the fall and the spring semester, you'll be taking 2 classes. So you might have one class on Monday and a different class on Wednesday, for example. During the summer, you still take 2 classes, but during the first 6 weeks of summer, you actually deep dive into one class. So you're focusing on one class during the entire first 6 weeks. And then during the second 6 weeks of summer, you dive into a different class. So it is fast paced, but it does allow you to really dig into a topic. And typically students still continue to complete 6 credits during the summer semester with a 3 credit class during summer 1 and a 3 credit class during summer 2. So I hope that answered your question.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And maybe for our final question this evening, Delaney, you have another question. We'd be glad to hear from you again.
It was, thanks. I was wondering, sometimes I have to travel for work, and is there any flexibility with having to miss class on occasion?
And Carlene, I'll have you jump in.
Sure. Our faculty realize that our part-time working professionals are busy. We ask that you think carefully. So if you are doing a job and you know every Tuesday night and that's the night you have class, we would ask you to probably choose another class. However, if you occasionally have to travel on a Tuesday night and you have a Tuesday night class, I always tell students to think about faculty like you would do your supervisor. You wouldn't leave out of town without talking to them. They are more than happy to work with you. A lot of our classes are also recorded, which gives you the option of watching that recording afterwards and catching up on anything. But we do ask that you communicate with that faculty member ahead of time, and they're more than willing to work with you. So it shouldn't be a problem, Delaney. And that's for anybody who travels.
Yeah, really, really great question, Delaney. Josh Lustig, again, who's our associate director in the full-time program, but working with all MBA programs, has taken a few classes here and there, and they've certainly been more than flexible with an MBA recruiting schedule. We cannot emphasize enough how wonderful your faculty are and the programs team. But again, it starts with you, good professional communication, treating this almost like a job. But by keeping those lines of communication open, you'll have a wonderful, wonderful experience. I know Josh and I get to take classes from time to time when the topics are right, and we've enjoyed every moment. So very good, everyone. We are delighted to have had the opportunity to spend time together. And again, I would be more than happy to link you all to members of the community who were here this evening. So please don't hesitate. I know you have access to my information and also Amy Palausa, but we will follow up by email to formally thank you for your time, to get you on that next step and the track towards applying and working closely with Amy through the application process. And we'll be sure to offer you an application fee waiver to thank you for your time and your interest in William and Mary today. So thank you all so very much for being here. We're trying to be respectful of keeping the program at an hour. But again, on behalf of all of us, I want to thank our current student panelists, Adam, Jasmine, and Shannon. Again, you all truly know what it takes to be successful as a part-time MBA, and you three are slaying the experience. We are delighted that you represent our William and Mary School of Business community, and you make us so very proud. Thank you for sharing your insight and your time. And to the prospective students, we really look forward to working with you. So don't hesitate to reach out to Amy, to me, to Josh, Carlene and Ken, Jennifer. We are all here to support you and to help. We hope everybody remains very safe. We look forward to being in touch soon. Have a pleasant evening. Thank you all.